LexArt is pleased and proud to host the inaugural exhibition of the experimental workshop FiberLab. The workshop is the embodiment of the wonderfully creative fiber artist, teacher, and I've come to know in the last few days, lovely human being, Jody Colella. Jody is both a member of the Fiber Arts Guild at LexArt and maintains and runs FiberLab out of her Somerville studio. The exhibition, The Chemistry of FiberLab, features the work of 18 FiberLab artists investigating materials and processes and finding their creative voices in 2D, 3D, painting, printmaking, needle arts, surface design, felting, dyeing, and more. The work wonderfully animates the exhibition space. The gallery looks fantastic. I'm so pleased. And let me introduce Jody Colella. Jody.
Thank you, Matthew. Oh, okay, make sure I'm not muted. Thank you, Matthew, for that great intro. You really captured what FiberLab is about and saved me about a paragraph of copy. So, but before I get going, I really do want to give my sincere thanks and the sincere thanks from all FiberLabbers to a few people. LexArt, the organization, has been so supportive and generous and enthusiastic about us being there. It's been a joy to go through this whole process with them. So I'd like to thank that. Matthew, I'd like to thank you for all your help as the executive director and all the sort of rescheduling and all the support you've given us, including installing. Your impeccable eye helped to make this a stunning show. And Terumi, I would like to thank. Terumi and I have become very good friends. Before this and during this, Terumi's a FiberLabber, and Terumi knows the ins and outs of LexArts, and without her, I would be caught in some tunnel somewhere right now because I wouldn't know my way out. So thank you, Terumi, for all your help. And of course, Cassandra, couldn't do it without you. Thanks for your help. You're also a FiberLabber. Woo, woo. And you know, it's a stunning gallery. We are so honored to be there. And when you walk into spaces that are as well put together as this, it feels like it was such a natural that it just fell together. But you know, these things don't just fall together. There's a whole lot of behind the scenes effort that goes into it. And the tech team at LexArt, and I would like to mention names, but I'm afraid I'll forget somebody. So I'm going to collectively say the tech team who did all the back end work for all of the organizations that we needed. I'd like to thank them as well. So let me say, I'm honored to be here to introduce you to our FiberLab community.
Jody, you're muted.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, you're okay now.
Where did this happen that I got muted?
No, Frankie, I'm listening to this thing and I got to pay attention.
At least 3 sentences back.
You were just about to talk about what FiberLab is.
Yeah. FiberLab, as Matthew so eloquently described, is he said so much, I don't need to say as much more, but it is an independent study group that meets every other week in my studio. We experiment, play, interrogate, share. We support each other. It's a safe space to be vulnerable with your art and get critiques and share resources. FiberLabbers, as we love to call ourselves, sometimes labbers for short. Am I muted again?
No.
Oh, all right. Someone just texted me. So we call ourselves FiberLabbers, sometimes Labbers for short. And they are a group of talented, curious, generous, and prolific artists. 18 are represented in this exhibit. 8 will be presenting tonight, and many more are out there. I just want you all to know I love you all and value the fulfillment and joy I receive when working with you. I wish that we could be in person. My vision, my imagination tells me we would fill the gallery and the door would be open and we'd be spilling out into their front yard with our wine and cheese, and everybody could meet everyone and we'd have the opportunity to have faces for all of us here. And we can't do that with this technology, but I want us to take this time we have together that we have right now and enjoy our celebration. And for all of our audience, let's share with them the chemistry of FiberLab. And thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. And what I have now to share is a very quick video tour of the gallery so that you can see or get a sense of the space, the stunning gallery space, the stunning work. And hopefully it's a teaser to allow you, to entice you to come in and see it in person, because this doesn't really do justice, but hopefully it will give you enough of a vision. Can everyone see this okay?
I don't see anything.
Do you see a black square?
Yes, I see
Oh.
blackness. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start the video. So here's when you enter the chemistry of FiberLab. And this is Cynthia Donnelly Wallet and her rice vessels. She'll be talking more about these later. And this is the cube. Monday night class. It was a collaboration conceptualized by those students. Each side, each panel is created by a different person. And we all came together, and it was fabricated by Rebecca Tuck and her father. This is a work by Rebecca Lord Gardner, where she mines her history, her family history, and this is about her great-grandmother. Amy Pett is our Echo Dyer in residence, and this is her piece, Forest Floor. She'll be talking about that later too. This is Gathering Strength by Rochelle Zone in response to the pandemic. Rochelle's a master of material transformation. This is a piece called The Mess of It All by Ellen Solari, where she does all sorts of things, and you'll be hearing about that soon too. Also Ellen's work, Pictograph 3, and these are a collection of vessels called Family, rust dyeing, copper dyeing, wool felt, embroidery, you name it. Ellen throws it in there with aplomb. These two are Amy Pett, and you can see it's more echo dyeing, collage, embroidery, silk, natural materials, linen, exquisite. This is a felt piece by Charlotte Moore, who will be talking about her process later. And she is a felter and archaeologist, which is just one of the fascinating things about FiberLab. This is a tea bag embroidery by Judith Felton. Yeah, you heard me right, tea bags. And these are more felted things by Judith. And this is a mixed media sculpture by Charlotte. And Molly is our expert weaver. This is a Chesapeake Bay Sunset by Jean Masland. The top there is Tori Coster. And the bottom, we have Denise Howard, who is a real pioneer in combining all sorts of techniques. Tori's pieces are called Shibori Gold. She did Shibori indigo dyeing and then applique gold beads on top. They're beautiful. On this wall, we'll start with Stacy Kowinski, who takes the rice vessel and just shoots it to the moon with her application of material and stitch and imagination. These are called containment vessels. This is a map quilt of Boston by Karen Winehouse, a weave by Rebecca McGee Tuck, about her social media friends, donated clothing by them. They know her, but they don't know each other. Here's an example of the meticulous stitching and narrative imagination of Karen Winehouse. And next, you'll be seeing the hanging sculpture by Dana Talbot called Contained Energy, made of paper pulp and wire. These sculptures are the muse of Cynthia Donnelly Wallet. She takes found roots and needle felt in them, and you can see she is fearless in her application of material. Meg Groot is a wonderful quilter, stitcher, dyer, and if you watch the video, you'll learn about her exploration of the ragged edge. These are log cabin collage by Tori Costa. The needle felting in front by Rochelle, and paper in the back by Dana. And coming up is a mixed media piece by Karen Tabb, where also it was done during in response to the pandemic and the inequities that were revealed as a result of it. Also a pandemic piece by Rebecca Tuck, the rapidly changing events. This tall pole piece is 400 tendrils, knitted by Rochelle, capturing memories. And here we have Doris, the sheep, inspired by a real sheep that used to live in a Midwestern farm, and created by Cindy Kennelly, as also this piece. She is a master felter who will be talking later, but this is an example of her bravery, where she would cut up old pieces and create new. Here's a brief overview of the space so you can get a sense of, you know, what it's like to be inside. It's just gorgeous. You need to see these works in person. And then, of course, we have a retail space that's to die for. So that's our quick tour of the gallery, the show itself inside the gallery. And I hope that whet your appetite. But what we have next is a presentation by 8 different FiberLab artists. And what we decided to do, we would love it if we could have everybody represent something, but we want to keep it timely for everyone. So what we decided to do was to break it down into 3 different processes, or 3 groups of processes that are popular in FiberLab. One of them is mixed media, one of them is felting, and another one is sort of a random weave, the rice vessel, which has become a cult activity, more or less, and you'll learn more about that soon. So we're going to start with mixed media, and our first artist is Amy Pett. Amy, you might want to unmute yourself, and Terumi can highlight you once you start talking. Amy is, as I said, our eco-dyeing expert in residence, who generously shares all of her secrets of this magical process. I'll let her take it away from here.
Thanks, Jody. So eco-printing is printing on fabric and paper with plants. I use a process developed by India Flint, who is the inventor of eco-printing. She lives in Australia. And so I've been Zooming with her classes for the entire pandemic. The way I do eco-printing is I press leaves very tightly against fabric or paper and tie them up really tightly to keep a really good contact, and boil it in a pot of water for a couple of hours. The steam from the boiling water opens the fibers of the fabric and the paper so they can receive the pigments from the leaves. Then I let the bundle rest for a few days before I open it. Eco-printing is unpredictable, so I never know if a particular leaf will print or what the print will look like, even if I've used that kind of leaf many, many times. Even if I've used a leaf from the same tree many times. When I do eco-printing, the leaves and I are making art together. I try to create a welcoming environment so the leaves can work their magic. The process is full of suspense and excitement. Will these leaves print? What will the prints look like? Waiting those few days for the bundle to rest is really hard. It's like leaving a wrapped up Christmas present under the tree for a few days before I can open it. For me, echo printing is a spiritual practice. I've come to feel a deep connection with trees and their leaves, and I'm tremendously grateful to them for helping me make art. And I love the beautiful prints we make together. And this is called Forest Floor. And you can see what incredible prints the leaves have made for me.
So Amy, I see, is that a maple leaf, like almost front and center?
The black one?
Yeah.
Yep.
What kind of leaf is that? And then I also, you have a lot of orange, which is your eucalyptus, right?
Yes. Yeah. So eucalyptus is that plant that's sometimes in bouquets of flowers that is gray-green. But astonishingly, when you boil it up, it turns red or orange or pink. This is all printed on silk. If it had been printed on wool, it would have been a really dark orange. It's magic.
I know this was a labor of love for you that you've been working on for a very long time with applique and embroidery. Thanks for sharing with us. Our next person is Ellen Solari, and we all in FiberLab aspire to be Ellen.
Yes.
To have her sense of fearlessness and her aesthetic eye. She does wonders, and if you ask her how she did it, she'll say, I don't know, I threw it in a bucket. And then this magic happens. So Ellen, please share with us your process and your artwork. I can't see you, so I'll let Taruni tag you. There you are.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm going to talk about rust dyeing, which is one of the techniques I use in my mixed media work. And I think at some point we're going to see a picture of my work of felt vessels that were rust dyed and hand stitched. And rust dyeing is a simple technique. You take a piece of fabric, it's soaked within a mixture of vinegar and water. And then you place rusty objects such as washers, nails, whatever you see that is rusty. And they are also soaked into the solution. And then I place them on the fabric where I would like them to be. And then I let the rusting begin. And it can take anywhere from a few minutes to a few days for the image to appear. This is usually due to the object. Some objects rust better than others, and I don't know why, and the type of fabric that's used. For the most part, rust dyeing does have a limited palette. Using just vinegar and water creates rust, the rust color, or if you're in ours, you'd say burnt sienna. If you use different types of teas, you can get things in a black or a gray range. And then to achieve the blue and the green that you can see, I use roofing copper with vinegar and water, or copper etching plates. And also I've been using pre-1980 pennies because they have the most copper. And if they're put into a solution, they do give that wonderful blue-green color. That's it. And
thank you, Ellen. I recognize, I don't know if you all can see this, there are washers. See those round circles? Nothing is sacred. Anything found on the street, a muffler from a car.
right.
I gave her some of my copper roofing when we were redoing our roof there. So
Right.
it's
That provided the green.
yes, and that was the green. And we also love your approach to improvisational stitching. Very quiet, but very emotive.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Thank
very
you.
much. Next, we will have time after each group, and we have one more person for this group. We will have time for a couple of questions before going to the next group, and then we'll open it up to all kinds of questions. So next we have Tori, who loves fabric. She has this great story how she'd follow her mother around in fabric shops, but she always got lost because she was lost in the color. She loves fabric, color, and design, and it really shows in her work. She has been developing quite a line of fabric collage. And in this show, she will be talking about her Shiborian gold. Thanks, Tori.
Thanks, Jody. As Jody mentioned, my name is Tori Costa, and I make textile collages using bits and pieces of old fabric. I focus a lot on surface design techniques to embellish my work. So using embroidery, hand and machine stitching, and dyeing. And in one of the FiberLab classes, Jody taught us shibori, which is a Japanese method of resist dyeing. And basically, you take fabric. In my work, we used silk, and you can bind it, pleat it, twist it, do whatever you want to it to have sort of areas that are exposed and areas are hidden away. And then you place that fabric in a vat of indigo dye. And so when the dye dries, you have these really gorgeous patterns in all shades of blue. And so I took the pieces that we made in class and I decided to embellish them with gold seed beading. And I decided to do that because as much as I love like the indigo blues, I also really loved the quiet white spaces that surround it. And I thought having another element to sort of tie them together so that the whites don't always get lost, you know, in contrast to the blues, would be a way to like really celebrate the different patterns and textures and color variations there. So this is one of the 4 pieces in the show that I have that's called Shiborian Gold.
You know, Tori, I think I wrote this in a Facebook post on your profile, how this is like one of my favorite combinations of delicacy and organic. So, and here's a detail shot. You can see the beautiful texture you get from the beads, but you're enhancing like you were saying, the delicacy of the print. Love it.
Thank you.
So what we can do now is if there's a question or two, Cassandra, that people want to ask our first group of artists, or shall we oh, you're muted. Oh.
My audio, okay.
Okay.
So one question was on the vessels, the family vessels, what stabilizes them so they keep their shape? And the second question about it was how do you stabilize the dye on the fabric?
The vessels are made out of wool felt, so by its nature, it's a little stiffer than like cotton. And to keep them upright, I used to stuff them with different things, okay, anything that I could find. But lately, what I've been doing is buying 5mm thick wool felt and cutting it into the shape of the bottom just to give it some stability. And in terms of stabilizing, I don't do anything, when I finish dyeing, I will wet it, I'll wash it, some like soap and water and let it dry. But that's all I do for stabilizing. And I don't, the blue, I don't know how long, if that will be permanent. I know the rust will be, because you all know how, we've all gotten rust on things, it's like, yeah, I know how to get it on, but I don't know how to get it off. So I think that will be okay.
Thanks.
All right, and there's one more question. Where's the studio? This is for you, Jody, I think. What studio in Somerville is the studio where the fiber artists meet or met?
We meet at my studio at Miller Street, 11 Miller Street, and it's called Miller Street Artist Studios. And it's a great big chaotic space with tons of materials lining the walls, and we meet at a table in the center. And of course, we haven't been meeting in person since shutdown, except over the summer we had a few outside gatherings. But this is going to change soon, my friends. I hope that by summer we will be there. But we have been maintaining quite successfully via Zoom on a regular basis. So all good. Thank you for asking.
So that was that for mixed media.
Okay, so next, that's right. I'm thinking, oh, I'm up. All right. Okay, so next we're going to talk to the felters. Now, we have many people who like to felt, and everybody has a great aesthetic for it. But there's three here who make it a big part of their focus. And our first person, Charlotte Moore, she's an archaeologist and an academic, and she brings her special voice to felting. And I just want to point out, this is what makes FiberLab so special, how we all come from so many different backgrounds and come together and share it. It is just such a rich environment. So Charlotte, I will hand it over to you so you can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. I'm Charlotte Moore, and I make felt, and people sort of look at me and say, what is it? So why don't I start with felt and what it is? This is a piece of fiber. It is from a sheep. Most of the felting that we do is from wool, and each little fiber, teeny little fiber here, has barbs in it, so that when you rub it together like this, you will ultimately get a piece of fabric. So I don't know whether you can see this. Here it comes. Okay. Anyway, so that's what happens. It's about an 8,000-year-old technique that has crossed across all of Eurasia, from the Pacific to the West, and through many traditions and many cultures, and nobody knows quite sure how it is, who invented it. But you can imagine some poor shepherd out there with cold feet, and he stuffed his boots with lamb's wool or something like that, or somebody marching across the steppe, and it all packed down inside their boots, and they thought, oh wow, we can use this. At any rate, felt is, this is what you see here is a rug that I made. It is about, I'd say about 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick, about 4.5 by 5 feet long. It's not in the show, but it is in the shop space. This is the way I do it, which is exactly the way one would do it in Central Asia if you lived in a yurt. And I lay out the fiber on what I use, a Mexican woven plastic rug. And I lay it in several layers till it gets to be, I'm not showing it, but I would say maybe 5-6 inches tall of fiber. Then I get it very wet, and I put pure olive oil soap on it, which helps the fibers relax. And I rub and I rub and I rub, and till it mats down into this rug. But then I roll it, the whole thing, including the rug, the plastic rug, in a noodle, swimming noodle, and roll it and roll it and roll it. And then what I do is I bang on it. I open it up, I bang on it, I slap it. I've got big heavy wooden tools that I use. Here's my fish whacker, antique fish whacker that I use. And this was made for me in Finland, so I can roll it across and bang at it. And ultimately, or dance, I love it because it gives me the sense of physicality, that I'm embedded in it, and I can dance to music while I do it. And I think about all those wonderful people over the 8,000 years that have been doing this. And here I am doing it today. So that's about it. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Charlotte. What a great connection to history, especially given your interest in archaeology and all of that. That was a wonderful explanation for anyone who doesn't know about felt. So thanks. And we'll
You're
save
welcome.
the questions till the end of the felting group, but please, everybody, if you have questions for Charlotte, put them in the chat. And next we have Judith, who incorporates many felt techniques into either a single piece or many pieces. And she has a wonderfully analytic and aesthetic eye to her work, always giving me a bit of a surprise at how eclectic it is. So Judith?
Hi, I'm Judith Felton, which my name is sort of weird given what I like to do. You've heard from Charlotte how wool is made with water and soap and lots of pounding and rolling and whacking. But making a piece of felt is only the beginning of the process. There are endless possibilities if you're a felt maker. One of the things you can do is to add other materials. You can embed silk or cheesecloth or even paper with the wool and make an entirely different type of fabric, which can be really beautiful. You can have a flat piece of felt. You can make a vessel out of felt, as you've seen. You can make a three-dimensional sculpture out of felt. There are just limitless opportunities of using this material. The completed piece can be flat, like this one. And as I said, any other type you can imagine. In the gallery and in the retail shop, you'll see a lot of different types of felt objects. You can design a landscape, or you can design a portrait, or you can design an abstraction, or just have a lot of marks and different colors. You can add things to the felt. Here I felted a flat piece, and then I've separately felted some ropes and little balls and little yarn pieces and added them to the flat piece. I've used the same colors of wool, but a little bit different approach. A lot of artists stitch on things. They might add beads or buttons or pieces of fabric or lace or shells or whatever you want to add can be stitched on. But what I particularly like to do is to stitch into the felt. Unlike what Charlotte loves to do, which is really hard work, I find the stitching into the felt is almost effortless because the needle just glides right on through. And I like to stitch into it to add color, to add texture, to add some more interest to the basic felt itself. When I'm stitching, I find I'm often doing a lot of repetitive stitching, and I find that very meditative and very satisfying. So while I work in a lot of different media, including tea bags, as you'll see, I really love the process of working in felt. And so I find I can be creative, but just thoroughly enjoy what I'm doing. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Judith. I know I've often heard you talk about the pleasure of stitching through felt that you have and how it's kind of like butter. So yeah, it gets me feeling like I want to do some right now. So anyway, thank you for your sharing. And next up we have Cindy Kennelly. She's a master felter, a generous community gatherer. She's responsible for all our FiberLab dinners before class, and has an extremely playful practice to her work. I'll let Cindy explain. Cindy, are you here?
I am.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cindy Kennelly, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about a piece I have displayed in the FiberLab show. And it is a quilt that I pieced together, and it is called You Are Worthy. So I am a felter, and I created many projects in the past few years using the processes that Charlotte and Judith both just spoke to you about. Many of my early projects sat in the back corner of my studio. They did not make it into shows, and I probably didn't even post pictures of them on Instagram. So each project, while not worthy of a show or posting, pushed me forward in my art. So one day I decided to take my scissors to all of these past projects and I cut them into quilt squares. And then I sewed those quilt squares together. I made the decision in this piece to show all of the stitches. I know I could have stitched the quilt squares together with the stitches behind them, but to me, the visible stitches here demonstrated the support of my family, my friends, my fellow artists in FiberLab, and all of my teachers who have supported me through this felting journey. You can see on the piece, I did create a white, very soft merino wool edge with a pink silk scarf throughout it. And down at the corner, you can see how I left a little pink scarf hanging out. And to me, this signifies that my felting journey continues. Finally, once it was all pieced together, I needle felted the reminder on the quilt that you are worthy. Because while each piece was not going to be in a show or posted anywhere, once it was all put together, they are worthy, just like each one of us is worthy. So I hope you're able to come to the gallery. I hope you're able to see it in person and see all of the other wonderful work and of the amazing artists from FiberLab.
Thank you, Cindy. And I love your whimsy too, like with Doris the sheep, with her
Well,
Chanel lipstick and her curlers. And how she was, I'll let you talk about her for a second if you want, about your inspiration.
for a second, we'll go. So Doris is a tribute to all the farmers that provide our wool. So Doris was a real sheep, and all of these farmers are out there working tirelessly and they provide us with all our fiber. So she is a tribute to those farmers.
Thank you. Yeah, there she is. It's wet felting and needle felting, right?
For Doris,
Yes.
Doris is completely needle felted. She's
Really?
solid wool. She's solid wool.
Wow. I didn't realize that. That is amazing because it's a very large piece.
And I will tell you, the pink curlers in her hair that keep her curls in place are actually vintage curlers that were my mother's.
Oh, that's nice. Well, thank you, Cindy. Maybe we have some questions, Cassandra?
Yes, and Cindy, I think you did Doris a disservice by not mentioning her lipstick, but hey. For Charlotte's piece, someone wants to know if you dye the fleece before felting it. And how do you get the patterns in the colors without them bleeding into each other?
The first part of it, I don't have the facilities to dye, frankly. And so I have to buy the fibers or buy the wool from people who do dye. And the background of that particular rug was dyed Finnish landrace. It actually came from Finland. It's a rare breed and it's natural. But I get a lot of my landrace from the people that I learned to make rugs from. They live next door to a sheep farm. That's the colors. I've actually felt right into the wool. So the blue is actually merino wool, and I got it all sort of felted the way I wanted it, and then laid it on top of the base sort of grayish white color. And the same with the little brown dentals at the top of the rug, which are Bergschaft. It's a German wool, and I don't think that is natural color. But you can do the Central Asian way of getting the patterns into the wool is to lay out the patterns first and put the back on last. So the patterns are down at the bottom of the whole pile. This particular rug and a lot of the things, the hat I'm wearing, for example, no, that was laid out bottom first, decoration first. This was laid on top of the grayish white background. And then they're all wool, so they just will melt right into each other. And sometimes I've had the dye bleed. You can't help it. It depends. And I can test the wool actually before I put it on a big piece like that. So I'm sure that it's not going to bleed.
And someone wanted to know also if you made your hat.
I did
How
make my
did,
hat.
how did you make your hat?
Okay, my hat it's a hollow shape. Okay, so in order to get it hollow, I use something, pretend that this is a hat shaped piece of something that doesn't felt. And I, the sort of plastic stuff that you, is underlayment or you wrap packages in. It's like a sheet of plastic. And I put the wool on both sides of it and roll it from that so that when I pull out what's called the resist, it is, I have a hollow space, which is my hat. And then I put it on a form to make it round. And this one, I laid out the pattern first, so you can see that, and then put the greens on top.
Oh, cool. So it's like
Okay, get my
that-
hair cut in 2 days. That's yeah.
So that piece of paper represents what you call a resist, which means it interrupts the felting of the two layers to each other. And that's how
Exactly.
you get a hollow form.
That's how I
Perfect.
get a hollow form.
And then we had one question, which I think the answer to it is it depends. The question is, how long does it take to whack down felt? I'm assuming that depends on the size and the thickness of what you're trying to craft.
Yeah, it takes me about 5 hours to get the hat. Okay, the rug would take about, I'd say, 2 or 3 days to lay it out, and then maybe a full day of rubbing or more, and then a full day of rolling and more, and whacking and so forth. And then, of course, I do it primarily in the summer so I can take it outside. I use a power hose to get power spray to get the soap out of the rug, which requires more rolling and pounding
And
to get the whole wall.
Thank you.
That's all right. I'm done.
Okay, Cindy, did you, is Doris made of Doris the sheep's wool?
Doris is made from she is a Leicester long wool sheep, and the locks on this Doris I did get from the farm in Montana where Doris lives. So yes.
Okay, thank you. And then Jody, Edwin Smith asked, how can I join FiberLab? So I'm assuming that you will have a way to share.
Oh,
that.
I think Edwin Smith is Martha Friend.
Oh,
And
well, okay.
Yes, Martha, I will contact you when we open up again. Thank you.
So everybody's enjoying this. So I think we can move on to.
Yes, okay, so our next group is 2 artists, and they're talking about 2 different techniques, but they're both sort of under the umbrella of a random weave. So I will let Cynthia take over here, Cynthia Donnelly Wallet, take over and talk about rice vessels. And you probably say, what the heck is a rice vessel? Well, you will see. Cynthia? Cynthia?
There I am. Thanks, Jody. Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Wallet, and I'm going to talk about rice vessels. One of the things about FiberLab that's been so great is that we've had a chance to try many different things with many different materials. And I think in my display of rice vessels, which I think Terumi will be showing momentarily, it's an example of mixed media, the same technique using many different materials. So just as an example, a number of these are made from linen. The beige ones, the gray one, the orange one are all just made from linen. And how I would describe the process is I would revert back to elementary school, whereby when we used a balloon, if you remember, and you soaked the string in glue, you would wrap the balloon with the glued string, making many different layers. And once the glue dried, you'd pop the balloon and you would be left with a shell or some type of vessel. That is very much the similar process that we do making this type of structure, only using bags full of rice, double stick tape, and various types of fibers. I really love using mixed media. A number of my vessels, I've used cassette tape. The large blue orb is made with sari silk, found objects wire, eyeglass. There's a side of somebody's eyeglass I found on the street, some plastic ribbon, and various other just colors that caught my eye. I also tried the same process using wire, wrapping the wire around the bag of rice and then wrapping each individual wire with its own fiber, versus the one to the right of the wire vessel is done with all in wool. So you can see, and even the little green basket in the front is done with a vegetable bag found from the grocery store, wrapped with nautical rope I found at the beach down on the Cape, and each individual thread is then woven in between the netting around the bag of rice. So the possibilities are endless, and which is what I find so exciting about this, because you never get the same thing twice. I guess we can quote Forrest Gump here in his box of chocolates, because these rice vessels, and as we also saw from Stacy, she uses the same process in a much more explosive process, and hers are equally fabulous. So with many different other types of materials. So the beginning is just the beginning, and the end is who knows where it will go. So I've really enjoyed this. I'm very much committed to this process of the rice vessels, and I see myself making many others in the years to come.
Thank you. You definitely are an apostle of this vessel making process. And like both of you and Stacy, make it your own in a very unique way. So we really love watching it. And I would have been disappointed if I didn't hear the word committed in your presentation.
I know my pals in our Saturday class are very, very much aware of that word. So yes, I'm committed to this process, absolutely.
So thank you. Our next person, Rebecca McGee-Tuck, is a master of all things mixed media, all things weaving, all things everything. She just had a show at Worcester Museum about walking the rack line, where she gathered things from the beach. But I'm going to let her talk about her piece in the show, because there's no way I can tell you the name of it, because it's about 6 people's different names all strung in a row. And I know I'll get it wrong. So Rebecca, I'll let you take over from here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca McGee-Tuck, and I'm going to be talking just a little bit about my piece, which is called Sarah, Robin, Debbie, Kat, Ben, Brenda, Samantha, also called Somewhat Strangers. And the reason why I named it this is I made it with a technique that I've been, or a method that I've been using lately of crowdsourcing materials from social media. So from friends that I know, I put a call out to collect jeans from people that I knew, but didn't necessarily know each other in real life. And I wove them together in a technique called twining. And so I cut the jeans into strip after strip after strip and sewed them together to make them extremely long. And I made a loom out of this old window that I found at a farm in their dumpster. And I wove them together. And the piece to me is a beautiful representation of a bunch of people I know that don't know each other, but now they're kept together for you all to see.
Thank you. I love how you used twining for that. and how the beauty of all the different materials, all the different jeans and the green that's in there, and some of that fringy fiber really adds a lot of texture, which I think you are the queen of texture. This is the artist, Rebecca, who fabricated the cube for the Monday night class. So we'll open it up to questions, particularly for the two that just presented, but also for anybody, anything that you want to ask about. But before then, I just want to give a shout out. We were so lucky to put faces to these works with the last 8 artists. And I want to put names to the other 10 who are represented in the show. Karen Tabb, Dana Talbot, Denise Hyde,
Yeah, Rebecca did talk. She just did.
Jean Masland, Karen Winehouse, Meg Groot, Molly Foley, Rebecca Lord Gardner, Rochelle Zone, and Stacy Pawinski. They're all here with us today. And if you saw anything in the video of the video tour of the gallery about one of those projects, you have a question, they can answer for you. So thank you. And Cassandra, do we have more questions?
Someone was just checking that the rice vessels had no glue in them in the process of making them.
No.
They don't.
Oh,
They don't. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Jody.
No,
That's
no,
okay.
Cynthia, you go.
I guess that's a really good question because it's really all about the structure and how dense you interweave the fibers. I mean, certainly the likelihood that there would be one made full of cassette tapes is not very likely because they would not stand up. But the linen, wire, it's woven and over and knotted, and it becomes in its own, there's the density of the fiber together, and then the other things are just interspersed, but there is no glue. This double stick tape helps hold the pieces together as you start out because it is somewhat tenuous in the beginning because you're really not sure how it's going to work out. Like anything any of us have done in this whole process, you have no idea what the end result is going to look like, which is part of the journey. So in answer to your question, no, there is no glue. But you get it.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Stacy, is there anything you'd like to add to that? Because you are the one with the riotous, intense ones.
Well, when the vessels are small, they hold their shape very well. Like a little one like this holds its shape very well. Even when you squish it, it pops right back because of the material you use. As you start to get bigger and bigger, then you have other things that come into play. And rice isn't even what I ended up using anymore. I ended up using beanbag filler, and there is no double sticky tape for when it gets really, really large. So then you explore spray adhesives, and things keep growing and changing because of the scale.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Any more questions?
Someone wanted to know, are the rice vessels worked bottom up, top down? Is there a specific methodology for that?
No, for me there is. You have to, you start with an opening. You need, in order to make the vessel, and no. It's random, very random for me.
I second that.
Yeah.
They're every which way and any way you want to go.
Right. Every which way but loose. Yeah.
If you all have a chance to look at the longer video that I have online of interviews and conversations with FiberLabbers, you will see Stacy stitching away, a little mini video, and so you'll get a sense of the intensity that she puts into her work, which is wonderful. And you'll also see more of Cynthia's work, conversation about these as well.
It's on fast motion though.
Yeah.
Just want to clarify, those things take a real long time. The video is on fast motion. It's like 30 seconds long, but it's really like an hour.
It's not showing on this screen, but someone asked about the long Rochelle's piece that's hanging from the ceiling. And
Oh,
I guess that's what we can say is that it's Rochelle's piece and it's hanging from the ceiling.
Rochelle is here. Rochelle, would you like to talk about your piece, Tale of Tales?
Certainly, I'd be happy to. I happen to have a large stash of yarn. And originally I decided to make myself a boa type scarf, knitting the yarn into small tentacles. Well, the boa scarf grew and grew and grew and grew. And then I hung it all together. And I called it Tale of Tales because it holds, obviously it took many, many hours to create this. So it holds many, many tales, many, many memories, many, many thoughts. But it was great fun. And the repetition was, very, very comforting.
Well, like all of your work, it's meditative process with a lot of love.
Mhm. Thank you.
Cassandra, do you
People are asking where the documentary video is, and that's in the gallery. You can see it there. And there weren't
Also-
any other questions. People are thrilled with the presentation. And I have a question for Rebecca. What's the rubber stuff at the bottom of the window frame with the jeans?
Well, it's a bike tire inner tube.
And is that part of the weft or the warp or the?
No,
or is
it's
it
actually
knits?
it's jute that I used,
Mhm.
but I wanted to give it the appearance that I used the bike tires because.
Okay. Thank you.
I'd like to add that my son tongue in cheek calls the longer conversational video FiberLab, the documentary. And you can find that on my website in the news menu, under the news menu. My website is my name. And you will also find it soon at LexArt YouTube channel. So there's 2 places where you could find it if you can't make it to the gallery. Okay. Oh, someone said they want to hear about
Opportunities to join the group. So that just popped up. So Jody, you might want to have something that we can put on the website, the LexArt website, as well as letting people know how to get in touch with you.
Absolutely. I can put my email in the chat, or you could go to my website and contact me that way. I'll put you on a list and let you know of the opportunities that are upcoming. And I'll also put it on the LexArt website. I know now that if I start taking names now, that won't be effective. I'll probably lose the paper or something. So we are going to stay on together. We have some more, if we have no questions, we have some information from Matthew to talk about LexArt, what's upcoming. And then we're going to have a toast to ourselves and to the show and to everyone who joined us today at the very end. So if you want to celebrate, party with our party, be a party of our party, please stay on. And thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jody. Tarumi, can you give me the FiberLab, the postcard slide?
No. I can just give you this week online at LexArt and the upcoming. That's all I have.
Okay. So, all right. So let me just say thank you, guys. That was a fantastic program.
Oh yes, I have it. There you go.
Thank you. The variety of the materials and the processes and everyone's willingness to talk about their work and their obvious passion for their work, I thought was not only wonderfully informed exhibition, but was a great insight into what FiberLab is all about. Again, that was a fantastic program. Thank you, everyone, for sharing that with us. The chemistry of FiberLab is up for 3 weeks. Please come see the gallery. The show looks fantastic. Admission is free, but reservations through the LexArt website are encouraged because we're limiting the number of people in the gallery. As Rebecca, who was gallery sitting this afternoon, shared with us, she had to ask some people to wait outside in the cold because we had hit maximum capacity. And as also was mentioned at the top of the program, works in the exhibition are for sale. And we have a wonderful FiberLab retail shop as well. So please come to the gallery. Terumi, can you give me the next slide? Thank you. And please join us this Thursday for March's installment of the online program LexArt Inspires with Maine artist and curator Lissa Hunter. These free programs encourage artists to share their creative inspiration and journeys. And we'll visit Lissa in her main studio for what I'm sure will be a delightful evening. And could you give me the next slide, Terumi? I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't mention upcoming shows at LexArt. Following the chemistry of FiberLab, we have the Best of LexArt, a society-wide show of recent work by our membership, juried by MFA Decorative Arts curator Noni Gadsden. And in May, we have our annual juried exhibition of Massachusetts ceramic artists, State of Clay, Joan Karsha and Alice Abrams always deliver a quality, exciting and handsome exhibit that showcases the best of Massachusetts ceramic artists. LexArt is featuring a new slate of spring classes with many new instructors and in a number of exciting new media, including upcoming programs for teens. Many of the new listings are finally featuring in-person instruction. So please visit the LexArt website for details. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to hand it back to Jody for a toast.
Thanks, Matthew. It was good to see you again. Without your mask this time.
Yeah.
Now I know what you really look like instead of just smiling eyes.
Yeah, you too. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Okay, everybody. Everybody I don't have my flute. Wayne's bringing it to me. I don't know where he is.
I saw him on the video before.
I know, Wayne, you're supposed to have me my flute. I hear the refrigerator, he's coming. So if everybody wants to get their celebratory drink, first of all, all the presenters, you really brought it. It was incredible. It was incredible. Everybody who is here today, all of you who have participated in the show, all the volunteering, all the hard work, all the energy, enthusiasm, and putting up with my millions of emails. I really thank you. And I am so proud of us right now. And I just want to say cheers to the FiberLabbers.
Cheers.
Or Labbers for short, as we like to say. Anybody else want to add anything? Go right ahead. I'm going to have a sip.
I'd like to say many cheers to Jody.
Jody, yes.
Our wonderful leader and teacher, and so much thanks. None of us, I think, would be here without you. So yay for Jody.
Oh, Amy, thank you. No, it's all of us. We're a collective. I'm going to have another sip.
I have to say, being in this gallery and seeing everything in person, I'm so excited to see it all in person. It's great to see the sizes of things, the textures of things, and there was about 40 people that came in today, and we had 3 sales, and what a great day.
Oh, thank you for being there, Rebecca. And you look great in the space and with your new necklace.
Well, can I say something on it? Is anyone, can you
Oh,
hear me?
no, Martha, good to see you.
Yeah, I know my name isn't really Edwin. It's really Martha. Hey, I undid that once and then I went back to being Edwin. Fabulous presentation. I'm really inspired by everything I saw today and everybody that I heard. This kind of art is so up my alley. I'm so wanting to be more with it and join FiberLab and all that stuff. I'm gonna go make my plan to get over to Let's Art this week for sure and see everything in person. So congratulations, fabulous job, very good.
Thank you,
And good
Martha.
show all around.
That's a lot coming from you. Thank you.
Martha, can I go with you?
Hey, Lorinda.
Hey, how you doing?
Lorinda, what are you doing Friday? Let's do it Friday.
Let's do it Friday. That sounds good.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
I want to
Yeah.
see.
You're on.
12
Okay.
to 4, 12 to 4 on Friday.
12
12
to 4
to
on
4.
Friday, Lorinda.
All right, I'll get in touch with you on Facebook.
Very good. Very
Okay.
good. We got a date. Yay.
Okay, thank you.
And all of you FiberLabbers who are gallery sitting, you get to meet them in person if you go in. And many of them will have their work with them that they're working on. So if you want to see like mini demos of things, it really is worth a trip and it's very safe. And I plan on bringing a bagged lunch and sitting with you as often as I'm able to get away from here. So, oh, who's waving? Oh, I thought you were waving to me, Tarumi. I was going to say, where are you
No, I
going?
was waving to Rebecca, who was leaving.
She has to lock up the gallery.
Oh, thank you, Rebecca, for locking up the gallery. Anybody, another cheer. I can't say it enough. You know what? I wish I had a balloon drop behind me. We need something with fanfare.
Then Rebecca would have to use those balloons in a sculpture.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right.
So
Well, I was going to say that I go to the FiberLab on Monday, and so it was really nice for me to meet all of the Saturday FiberLabbers, and I was happy for that.
You know,
And
The
vice
show's
versa.
beautiful.
Room. Right. It was really wonderful meeting our other half.
Right.
I know.
So much to learn and so much to do. It's inspiring and exciting. And thank you, Jody.
And
Oh,
for anyone
really
who hasn't been to the gallery, there's a huge parking lot, plenty of parking and easy access. So you won't have to worry about finding a place to park. And if you are more comfortable with reservations, that's available on the website. Just want to remind you. And we look forward to seeing everyone because it's really spectacular.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I'm just going to hang out then and drink my champagne and talk to you guys. Tell me what you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
Ellen, what are you
I have
working
to
on?
feed.
my Yokioni bag,
Oh, look at that.
bound and determined.
We always have
great about
meetings with our hands busy, right, Stacy? You're one with the busy hands. And you know, Amy and looking around here, Cynthia, oh my goodness, you
Yeah.
can't keep her hands still when we're having meetings. That's wonderful. And Denise, it's good to see you. Your wonderful, sensitive work is just shining in this gallery.
Oh my, thank
Oh,
you.
really,
Nice
it's
to
very
see you.
sensitive and looks amazing.
Wow,
And
that's really
Jean,
nice. Thank you.
Jean, so good to see you.
Yeah.
You look great.
Mhm.
Nice. And Judith, oh, you're back. You were a black window before. And so it's good to see you too, Judith. And your tea bags are garnering a lot of conversation. They're so ingenious
Mhm.
and beautiful.
Jody, who was the guy? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I got a chat from somebody saying, why didn't you talk about your tea bags? That's different.
Oh, because I know I asked you to talk about felt. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
Well, you know what? I'm planning on doing some IG Live videos, and I'm going to go in when you're there so you can talk about the tea bags. All right? We'll have time
Sure.
to talk about the tea bags.
Jody, who's the man behind you?
The giant in
A
this.
giant guy in a black shirt.
This is my Wayne, who, you know what? I really should have put him in the thank you section because he's been living with my chaos for about 40 years, right? More than that, yeah. So, and it never goes away. It just changes. So that's who he is. And let's see who else I see here. And Cassandra, thank you again. Cassandra was a big help with installation also.
Super fun.
And I also, Matthew Siegel has the best Pandora list. It rivals my husband Wayne's. I can't say it's better than his, Matthew, you understand, right?
Maybe we can merge them. That
Yeah,
would be good.
yeah. But actually, I would hear someone say, "Oh yeah, it's on Wayne's list too." So I'm going to have another sip. Tarumi,
I'm going to go eat my pod.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
Jody.
All right, good to see you,
They're
Charlotte.
all,
I'll be in
they're
touch.
all here.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye, Charlotte.
Bye,
Bye,
Charlotte.
everybody.
Bye, Charlotte.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna be leaving also. Thank you, Jody. You did a wonderful job. This was really great.
Jean, I have some good news for you.
Yeah.
One of your pieces sold.
Yeah. I heard.
Well, yeah, that's exciting.
That's really great.
One of the good ones, and it wasn't even in the show. It was in the back room and they asked for it. How about that?
Well, I'm very surprised and
You shouldn't be at all.
touched.
And several other pieces in the retail sold too. You all really just brought it to this. It's been
Well,
a
you
lot
did
of
a
work.
wonderful job putting this together, Jody.
Well,
Thank you.
Yeah.
My pleasure. So, okay.
Good night.
Good night, Jean.
Take care.
Good night.
I'm saying good night too. This was wonderful.
All
Great
right.
to be part of
We'll
it.
talk soon. Hey, can you all see the window with the guitars in it?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I like those.
That's
Guitar.
my husband Wayne's office.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
That's a real background.
You play all those too?
He does
Unlike-
play them
unlike-
all.
unlike
Yeah.
this one.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh,
Cool.
he disappeared. Okay. All right. So I guess we're good, right? Everybody good to go?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jody. That was wonderful. Great
Yeah.
job. Great
And you
job.
cook
Good.
too, right? That's what Jody said. You like to cook, you like food.
Oh,
So does
he's
my
a great cook.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes talking about myself now. I'm glad you've all stayed because now it's going to get good.
Well, I need to get back to FiberLab. I'm very encouraged to join you all again soon.
Yeah.
I'm very
Good. We
excited.
missed you.
Yeah, I know.
We would like that.
Yeah, it'd be really nice. So impressive. God, I'm just amazed at all of you and how this came together.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Well,
Thank you.
a lot of very talented people here. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as good a show as it is. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
I will say something. Actually, when I was, Jody was doing all the editing and I was checking out a couple of things for her. And when I first just watched the whole video, this is like an incredible show. I mean, I hear about FiberLab all the time. Jody's there, every week and stuff, and it just kind of becomes part of our everyday life. But to actually step back and see the work that was done in this show is just astounding. Really incredible work.
I know, like I said, he's living with my chaos, but I think he saw it for the first time when he watched the video.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And it's just amazing stuff. Really
Yeah.
is. You guys should be proud.
Yeah, and I want to make a little plug for the LexArt Inspires Lissa Hunter. If you're not familiar with her work, she's kind of a mixed media artist too, and uses a lot of different fibers and materials and clay for, I would call them mixed media installations. They're fabulous, and you might find it really, really interesting. So
I have to look. When is that? This Thursday?
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All of a sudden, I have a lot of free time.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Thanks a million. We'll see
Thank
you.
you, Jody.
Cheers.
You. All right.
Jody.
Bye.
Oh,
Bye.
my glass. Bye.
Bye.
Right.